Why didn't the Broncos extend Courtland Sutton or Garrett Bolles during their bye week? I'll tell you right now. All right, the Broncos are back to work, getting ready for a huge matchup against the Indianapolis Colts. This game means a ton for their playoff hopes. Win this thing, you're pretty much punching your ticket to the postseason. Lose, well, you're not completely out, but you're hurting yourself a lot. I want to talk about what went on, or really what didn't go on during the Broncos bye week. And it's two different things. First, well, they're both the same conversation, but different players. First is Courtland Sutton. Why didn't they extend Courtland Sutton or Garrett Bolles? We'll start with Courtland Sutton there. He does have another year left on his deal, but we know he's looking for more money. He set out last OTAs. They are voluntary, so I'm not killing him for that, but set out during those because he was protesting. He wanted a new contract. The Broncos and he and his team came to an agreement and gave him some incentives, right? Some kickers in his contract. At certain yardage, you get $500,000. Certain touchdown number, you get $500,000. He's going to reach a few of those. Should be a 1,000-yard receiver by the time the season is all said and done. He'll be the first 1,000-yard receiver to do it in Denver since, well, Courtland Sutton did it back in 2019. So why didn't he get a deal done? Broncos fans, I don't know if you're going to like this answer, but it's the truth, and I'm going to share it with you. He does have that extra year left on his deal. He is getting on the wrong side of 30 years old. They did just draft two wide receivers in Troy Franklin and Devon Vele in this last draft. And by the way, the draft before that, it was Marvin Mims who was selected. That was Sean Payton's first pick as the head honcho over there at Broncos Park, powered by Common Spirit. So they were already looking for somebody to replace that role that Courtland Sutton plays. Marvin Mims hasn't stepped up enough to be that guy. Troy Franklin certainly has not stepped up enough to be that guy. And Devon Vele, he's been all right, some signs of good, but he hasn't been Courtland Sutton type of good. Here's what I think is the best case scenario. And the reason they didn't do it is I think the Broncos are asking themselves, hey, is Courtland Sutton a part of our long-term future plans? And when I say long-term in the NFL, I'm thinking like 3 or 4 years, right? That's long-term in the NFL. 1 or 2 years? All right, maybe Courtland might be a part of that. And really, I hate to say this because he has been the best wide receiver on the Broncos for a handful of years. It might be the best play. Let's think about this realistically, all right? Bo Nix is on his rookie deal. You have 4 years to really capitalize. They're young at a lot of playmaking positions. Talked about the wide receivers. Tight end, TBD, because they don't have one yet. Running back, they're still very young in that room. With Courtland Sutton, by the time the Broncos are going to be real Super Bowl contenders, that could be as soon as next year. What does Courtland's game look like? How much does he drop off when he gets to that age 30 in the back 9 of your NFL career? And then when you ask those questions to yourself, you have to throw in the caveat of what's he think he's worth? So is it 18 million? Is it 20 million? I mean, he's certainly not going to get Justin Jefferson type of money, right? That's not who he is. And I'm sure he's well aware of that, but he's going to make 13.5 million next year. What if the Broncos just sweeten that pot a little bit, get it to 17 with incentives and kickers? And then maybe because you have the richest owners in the room, and I always say this, rich guys don't lose. It's great to have the Walton Penner family as owners here in the Mile High City. What if they just, hey, Courtland, we know you were looking for some more money. We're just going to give you this all up front. It's going to be, transferred into a signing bonus. So it's fully guaranteed. You got it no matter what. And then Courtland gets to go and find his new team after this season. I actually don't hate this idea at all. I like Courtland Sutton. He's been really good for the Denver Broncos. But man, you're going to pound the table for a guy that we call wide receiver 1 by default? I'm not going to do that. And it would open up a ton of money, man. They're going to get so much money off the books after this season with Russell Wilson, then after next with Russell Wilson. Imagine with salary cap growing, it grows 7 to 14% depending on the year in the NFL. And then starting to see some of this money come off the books. You can get a lot younger with a proven player. And then you just say, hey, Court, thank you for your services. Sorry that it didn't work out. We didn't find our quarterback until the back end of your Broncos career, but that could be the answer. I actually think that is the best play. I'm glad they didn't extend Courtland Sutton. Would he have earned it? And would I have dug my heels in on don't give him a deal? No, probably not. But man, you think of long-term here and the best football play, it's probably not to extend Courtland Sutton. See where you can allocate those dollars somewhere else. All right, how about GB? Garrett Bolles at the left tackle position. Now, he's a little different because his deal is up at the end of this year. He is a free agent. He can completely walk and take his services to another team. He said multiple times he wants to be a Bronco. In fact, he says it over and over and over and over again. He wants to be a Bronco and stay in the Mile High City. GB is older than Courtland Sutton. And with Garrett Bolles, he's also not making top tier money at the left tackle position. With his age, with the fact that he's already played his hand and said, I want to be here, the Broncos can use all of that against him. And they will. That's how negotiations work. So with GB, he's the one I actually do want to see extended. I wouldn't have minded at all if they extended him during the bye week. Left tackle is not a position that you play around with. Left tackle with what will be next year, a second-year quarterback in Bo Nix, that's not something that you play around with. Now, Alex Palczewski has, spot duty, filled in, and been serviceable, maybe even better than serviceable. In fact, probably good in some of his instances and time played. But GB, despite holding number 72, I know we all hate that, right? I just got the heebie-jeebies even saying it out loud. But man, you can trust that dude over there. He has been good, really coming off of a few years since he's turned his game around. And it was who was that? Coach Munchak, right? That came in and really helped turn Garrett Bolles around. So if I had to pick one between Garrett Bolles and Courtland Sutton that did get extended, it would actually be Garrett Bolles for me. You cannot mess around with left tackle. Cannot do it. And by the way, if you were to lose Garrett Bolles, then you have to replace him with your first-round draft pick this year. And I want that to be a playmaker for Bo Nix, possibly a guy that might have to replace a Courtland Sutton in a couple of years from right now. So the Broncos did neither. And I'm not upset about either of them, but if I had to pick, it would be Garrett Bolles that gets the extension. And like I said, I'm not talking long-term. 3-4 years for GB, I can't do that for you, my man. You're a little bit too long in the tooth for that. But 2 years, yeah, I can definitely do that. And you're telling Garrett Bolles in that time, hey, we're drafting your replacement, or we're signing your replacement in free agency so that we have a plan in place when your time in Denver has come to an end. So tell me, Broncos country, who would you pick? Courtland Sutton or Garrett Bolles, if you could only pick one to give a contract extension to? Tell us in the comments. While you're there, why don't you hit like, subscribe, follow along Denver Sports. Dover on Denver is going to be here every Monday and Wednesday, and I'd love to become YouTube homies with you, but you got to hit me up in the comments so that I can respond back and we can go back and forth. All right, something else I want to touch on here real quick before we're done is the Denver Nuggets. And the NBA trade window will open on December 15th. How quickly and how aggressive will the Nuggets be when that window opens? Well, I'm crossing my fingers. I'm rubbing Lucky Rabbit's feet to hope that it's aggressive sooner rather than later, because you can't just sit around. Look what the Avalanche have done. They've already made multiple goalie trades so far this season, and I don't think they'd be done if this doesn't work. The Nuggets, Calvin Booth, you can learn something from Chris McFarland. I don't know how far away your offices are over there at Ball Arena, but maybe you share a sack lunch and talk about how you make trades. They need to be aggressive early, and they have to figure something out immediately with this team. And Jimmy Butler, sorry, Nuggets Nation, that's not the answer. Jimmy Buckets is 35. And the Jimmy Butler that's in your head right now, when you think about Jimmy Butler on the Nuggets, oh my gosh, let me tell you, that's not the guy he is anymore. He's dealing with injury. Can he turn it on? And would he improve the Nuggets? Absolutely. But to give up a Michael Porter Jr., who I don't want to pull the plug yet on that experiment, I'm not down. And think about this. We know that the Cronkies don't want to be in the second tax apron. They've told us as much. And if Jimmy Butler comes here, he has a player option for the following season at $50+ million. No other NBA team has given Jimmy Butler $50+ million. So why wouldn't he pick up the option and collect that coin? And when he would do that, it would put the Nuggets in the second apron. When you're in the second apron, we know how that goes. You're restricted on trading draft picks. You're restricted on the veteran buyout market post All-Star break. And then obviously you're restricted on mid-level exceptions and things that you can and cannot do with some contracts around the league and that are on your team. So Jimmy Butler, he's not the savior that you think he is. So I am out on Jimmy Butler. I told you on Dover Denver a month ago. The answer is Nick Richards. Go get that big fella from Charlotte. Give Nikola Jokic some time off so he's not playing 38 minutes every night. And hopefully, again, I got to cross my fingers on that one, somebody can resuscitate Jamal Murray and bring that dude back to life, because Jimmy Butler, he is not the answer. This has been Dover on Denver, and now I'm done.